Fabulous. I am really delighted to share with you the products that we have available as the careers people. We have become a career guidance company, which is not how we started out. We started out as a company that made school branded careers newsletters, and then we've slowly grown and become a team, and we've gone from being just me, and I used to go around my schools and call myself the careers lady, to being a whole team of careers advisors with multiple products for schools. And every year I do this sort of introduction for schools to come along and learn about what we offer. Um, and I'm kind of humbly reminded of the fact that we grow every year, which is really exciting and really nice. As we go through the presentation, you will see where each of the products have come from, and everything has come from a challenge that we have seen on the ground in the schools that we work in. And so everything has been made with that kind of in mind, that there is a purpose. We don't ever make things to kind of recreate the wheel or do something that's already been done but with the careers people branding on. Everything has been made because we're like, there's a challenge, lots of careers leaders are experiencing it, and how can we help them to overcome it? And you'll see as we go through how those different things have formed and what that now looks like. So as you can see on the screen there, the whole reason that our business exists is to support young people. That's why we started, and that's still why we do what we do. And secondarily to that, we have now become a bit of an organisation that also just does a lot of free stuff, really, to help make careers professionals, particularly careers leaders, lives easier. At the end, I've got a page all about the freebies we offer, which is things like our digital calendar. What we've tried to do is go, well, loads of careers leads have to do that one task. So why don't we just do it and then share it with everyone for free? And then it's just going to save everyone in the industry time, and it just makes sense. You hopefully will learn as we go through. I'm quite a simple person. I like to keep things simple, and I just think when things make sense, just why not? If it's for the greater good, just why not? So my name is Jessica Pieri. I am based in West London. I'm a careers advisor and I'm still out working in the schools. I've worked in 5 different schools this academic year. That's really important to me. It's my favourite part of my job. And although I have founded the Careers People and obviously spend some of my time running the business, I don't ever see a time where I won't also be on the ground giving careers advice, because it's just so enjoyable. The kids are great. And what I really love about our jobs as careers advisors is that although we might see 6 different students in a day, the conversation and the variety of what we do is just fantastic. And that's why I think it has so much longevity to do our job, because everything's changing and evolving all the time, and we're constantly talking about so many industries and so many pathways that it never gets boring, or I don't think it does anyway. So this is our behind the scenes team. So these are all the people that keep the wheels in motion at the Careers People. Ray is our school's relationship manager. She creates the reports for all the guidance schools to show them the impact that the guidance that they have invested in is having on the ground for their young people, and will often be the person who answers emails for inquiries and things like that as well. Kath is joining us, and well, she is already an advisor for us, but she's joining us in a new role from September. And Kath will be leading on the kind of the CPD of our advisors. So she'll be going out and doing observations in the schools where our advisors are working, to give critical feedback and be sort of a critical friend, if you like, to say where advisors are doing a fabulous job and where things could be approached slightly differently. Leanne also forms part of our CPD team and does supervision every term with all of our advisors. Lauren does many things. She's our business manager. She does all the invoicing. She does all of the compliance for our advisors and making sure that everyone has all the correct insurances and DBSs are in up on the update service, that all our safeguarding is done, all of that fun stuff. I also wear lots of hats, as you do, I guess, when you're sort of leading a team. And Tiger looks after our social media, so she posts all of our fabulous posts and makes sure that we're keeping up with trends and other social media things. And then we have our advisory team. So these are our advisors that are out on the ground across a range of different places, and I've got a little map in a few slides' time to show you the areas that we cover. So really, really exciting. It started with just me, and then the following, or 2 years later, where there was a team of 4, and last year we were a team of 16, and I think from September there's like 21 or 22 of us. So yeah, it's really, really exciting. It's all very natural. We don't really do anything crazy. It's just word of mouth, and that is lovely. So yeah, this is our advisory team, all out doing fabulous work across different regions. For me, the thing that makes us different is that we actually have all done the job or are doing the job. So the majority of our advisory team have been careers leaders, so we understand the lack of time, the budget restrictions, the Ofsted and the ISI focus, depending on whether you're a state or an independent school, and just the evolving requirements to meet the needs of parents and governors and employers and students, and trying to just keep the students at the heart of everything we're doing because it's so important. I think sometimes, or I've seen in the past where careers leads can get really sort of wrapped up and I've got to meet this benchmark and I've got to tick that box. Actually, if you just do what's best for the student, the idea is hopefully you will naturally tick the boxes. And if not, then maybe the boxes are wrong, which might be controversial, but that's my opinion. So that understanding of really what it's like out on the ground, combined with a bit of creativity and obviously a lot of legislative knowledge, just allows us to create products that are meaningful, are relevant, and hopefully give careers leaders peace of mind that when they take on a product from us or a service from us, that they know it's going to be high quality, they know it's going to be up to date, they know it's going to be professionally written and created, and all of those good things. So these are the key values that we kind of adhere to as a company and as particularly within our guidance. So we are student led in everything that we do, particularly within our guidance. So when our advisors are meeting with young people in a school, each meeting will look very different. Some of them might be quite traditional. We might be at a laptop, we might be reviewing websites, it might be quite Q&A based. And then you might pop your head in 2 hours later and you might see we're doing a big colourful mind map about skills and values. And then you might poke your head in later and they might have Lego out, or, it really depends. So we have a lot of kind of tools that we utilise. And I think one of the key skills of not just our advisors but careers advisors in general is being able to quickly build rapport with the young person sat in front of them and think, well, what's going to work best for this young person? What's going to make the most impact? And then we let the student lead us in our practice and do what's going to be best for them. As I've kind of alluded to, originality is really important for us. We're not just recreating the reel. If someone is already doing a really good job at something, we're not then going to try and do it. It just makes no sense. We don't need lots of companies doing the same thing. Unity, so we like to think of ourselves as kind of embedded within the school's careers team rather than an add-on. So we want to be united within sort of the teams that we work in within schools, but also as an industry. We do a lot to bring the industry together, and I'll talk more about that towards the end. We have an online platform, it's called the Careers Circle, where we're just trying to unite people. We don't want anyone to be lonely, just bring people together. And then lastly, love, because the one thing about all our advisors is that we all love our jobs. We love what we do, and we want to help students to find what they love. So, yeah, they say money makes the world go round, but in our world, actually, it's love. We're all just trying to focus on that one thing. If you love what you do, you're going to live a happy life and you're going to make money because that's just all those things kind of go hand in hand. So this is kind of the region-ish that we work across. So we started in Swindon, and then I moved to London, and then slowly we've kind of filled the gap between the two. So we now work Swindon and Wiltshire, across to Oxfordshire, across to Buckinghamshire and Berkshire, a bit down into Surrey, all around London, up into Hertfordshire. And that's our key area. This red circle was a bit big. We actually don't go into Wales, but we do work mainly along this M4 corridor. We have had schools from all over the UK contact us for careers guidance quotes. Where we know of really strong advisors, we will put you in touch, but this is kind of our core locations. When I first put the Join Us page on the website and we started to grow the team, I was speaking to advisors from all over the place, and I was like, hang on a minute, this is too big and it's too much in all different directions. And also, where will we have our team days? It's going to get chaotic logistically. And so now we stick to quite a sensible sort of regional area. So sort of M4 and surrounding areas is where we find ourselves providing guidance. Okay, so moving on to some of the products that we offer. Our only service is our guidance. We don't offer sort of paid for workshops or things like that. We do have the advisors that work in the schools. If the schools say to them, are you happy to do an assembly on a certain topic or whatever it might be, we will always try and we will always help out. Obviously, some advisors are more comfortable than others in doing that. So where we can help out, we will, but that is our core service that we offer on the ground in schools, is those one-to-one appointments with young people. And then the rest of our offer are products. So I'll start off by sharing the challenge and then I'll share with you the solution we came up with, and obviously you can see the cost on the screen there. So one of the initial challenges that I found, I don't know, 10 years ago now when I started working in my first school was that I used to get so many opportunities from companies, employers, universities, which is great. Of course it is. But how do you communicate all of that great stuff with your student body without filling their inboxes and then they get to the point where they don't even read your emails because you're sending them so many? And I put together a newsletter. And then the trust that initial school was in said, "Can you make it for this school down the road?" And I went, "Yeah, why not?" And now we do it for over 300 schools. So it's slowly increased over the years, and it's amended and grown and evolved across along the way. Sorry. So we started off with a state school newsletter, and then we started making it for a few independent schools. And the feedback was that parents found that a lot of the opportunities on there were for kind of a widening participation style cohort. So basically, the independent school families were clicking through, and there was criteria like free school meals and all those sorts of things. So half the opportunities on there weren't even relevant for them. So now we have an independent version of the newsletter where the opportunities are all vetted and checked and just make sure that they're going to be relevant. And that independent newsletter also has a few opportunities on there that families are required to pay for. No big thousands of pounds type opportunities, but kind of £20 for a webinar. Because feedback from the independent schools was that actually our parents don't mind paying and they want to hear about those opportunities too. So that's kind of the key difference between the two. The newsletter is a collation of lots and lots of different opportunities. It also has a different job of the week, labour market information fact, employer and university spotlight each week. With the whole idea that we're just exposing students to things that they may not have heard of before. It's £220 plus VAT per academic year. So it works out when you divide it by 39 weeks of the year as £5 64 pence. So actually, the time that it would take a careers leader in a school to create a newsletter, obviously their time is more valuable than that and costs more than that. So actually, it's usually cheaper to just outsource it to us. Um, Now, it's completely branded as your school, and I'll show you some of the branding in a minute. It's impartial and obviously has LMI as part of it, so it can form part of your Gatsby evidence. Um, One of the really important things is that no one can pay to be in the newsletter. So it's not like a uni goes, "Is Jess, here's £500, can you put us at the top?" No, that's not how it works. I go through every week, I check all of the opportunities that are going in there to make sure they're high quality, from a reputable source, they're at a sensible time, all those sorts of things, and then they get included in the newsletter. We've won two awards for this now. So back in 2024, we won the most helpful careers tool at the Careers and Careers Festival. And then last year, we won the Innovative Product Award at the CDI Awards. That was for a particular feature on the newsletter. So you'll see in a moment. Oh, you won't see. You can see very small here. You see this kind of black box? On there it says listen to this newsletter. And that is because last year we added a new element to the newsletter where we create an AI generated podcast. So for students that are auditory learners, would just prefer to listen, EAL, SEN, don't want to sit and just read a document, they can click through and they can listen to the newsletter as well. And schools have embedded that in lots of different ways. Some of them utilise that in tutor time and they have it on in the background so students can kind of listen to it as they might be doing another task or something. So that was really nice, and it was nice to be able to utilise AI in a way that felt meaningful and felt like it added inclusivity to the newsletter as well. So this is the state version of the newsletter. So opportunities, as I mentioned, all the different boxes that you have down the side there. Oh, and there's the button. Listen to this newsletter just there. And this is the version of the independent newsletter. So different opportunities, similar layout, and we've also got a world spotlight on there as well, where it talks about the application process at a different country around the world and how you can apply to university there and some sort of key facts and information about that. As you can see on this screen, all of the newsletters look really different depending on that school's branding, and we work really closely with the school's marketing team if we need to get that right in terms of fonts and colours and lots of weird and wonderful things that the marketing team want us to do, and that's absolutely fine. We will make sure that they're happy with it and you're happy with it before we move forward and start producing it for you. We also have an SEN newsletter, which is just a bit more user friendly. It uses the dyslexia friendly font. It has kind of the different layout that is a little bit more colourful, the dark text on the lighter background, things to do, things to read. The success stories is all someone with some sort of SEN related diagnosis and what they've gone on to do, which is really nice. Um, yeah, it's a little bit different, and with the employer and the university information, we tend to focus on their inclusivity elements as well. And with the employers on here, we only use employers that are disability friendly accredited. So that can be purchased as its own newsletter, or if you are a state or an independent school that has that version of the newsletter, you can have the SEN version as an add-on if you want to, and that's an extra £200 for the year. So it's a little bit cheaper if you take the second one on as well. Um, Really good for Gatsby Benchmark 3 and meeting the needs of each pupil, and obviously evidence that you've gone above and beyond to ensure that your SEN students are thought about and catered for in what might be a slightly more accessible way. Ah, as I just said. Okay, the next thing is our apprenticeship academy. We've been running this for 4.5 years now. And what we found and the sort of challenge that we found was that the UCAS process in the majority of sixth forms we worked in was fabulous. Sixth forms are great at the UCAS process, but when it came to supporting their apprenticeship seekers, there were some gaps or some improvements that could be made. And the reason I think that that is because UCAS is very we all know the dates. They're kind of the same every year. If UCAS change anything in the process, we sort of get like kind of 2 years notice. They train us on it. It's a really easy process to follow. Whereas with apprenticeship applications, it's different for every employer. They're changing all the time. It's so hard to keep up to date with what's going on. You'd have to have this constantly evolving sort of support process for students. So we created the Apprenticeship Academy. It is a 5-week virtual program where students learn everything they need to know about where to find apprenticeships, apply for them, and then obviously interview for them as well. It runs 3 times per year. So the first one for the June session is actually starting right now, but each year it runs in September, February, and June, and there isn't ever a kind of a wrong time for students to explore their options. Um, we initially said that September and February were for year 11 and year 13, and then in June, year 10 and year 12 are also welcome if they're at the point where they're beginning to think about apprenticeships and sort of their post 16 and post 18 destination. But if I'm being really honest, if you've got a year 10 or year 12 in September or February that is ready to have that information, there's no reason why they can't do the program then. We're never going to turn someone away. You, as the school, if you feel they're ready, then they're absolutely welcome to come on. This is £180 per academic year, and you can refer as many students as you need to. We've seen schools do this in really clever ways in terms of embedding it. For example, we have a school that get all of their year 12 to do it as part of their learning process to make sure that they're making an informed choice about their options. We have another school who do it as part of their criteria for a mentoring program. So any student that shows an interest in apprenticeships has to do the apprenticeship academy, has to get the certificate at the end of the apprenticeship academy to then be given a mentor. So that works really nicely, and we see a lot of young people subscribe from that school, and we also see a lot of young people complete every week because they want the certificate so they can go to the careers lead and say, look, I've got a good basis of knowledge about apprenticeships now, and I'm ready to do some more in-depth work with a mentor, and then they get assigned that. Some key information here. Once you sign up to the Apprenticeship Academy, you get a full Padlet, which has quite an insane amount of resources now to launch this. So you get a poster, a leaflet, sort of the email text body to go out to parents to let them know what it's all about. There are tutor slides that tutors can deliver to introduce the program. There's also a video of Ray, the school's relationship manager, doing a presentation of those slides. So we really try and give you everything you need to successfully launch this. And if you ever feel like something is missing from those resources, all you have to do is say, and then we can create it. And that's kind of what's happened and why this Padlet's become so large with everything you might need. A lot of schools just let students access it independently. So the sessions take place from 4 till 5:30 p.m. on a Wednesday. Some other schools run it as an after school club, so they sort of manage it a little bit closer in terms of participation. Each week, the session runs from 4 till 5. It's delivered by a level 6 qualified careers advisor, so they can ask questions and get professional advice. And each week runs alongside a booklet that can be printed or used digitally. So students are doing activities, they're not just sort of listening for an hour. Then for 15 minutes, they hear from a current employer, and then for the final 15 minutes, they hear from a current apprentice. So they're also getting those live, meaningful interactions with employers and with apprentices as part of the program as well. And it's also important to say that after each program, we go through and we review every element of it. So we make sure that the next program that's going to run is completely up to date in terms of how employers are using AI, what they're doing with ATS systems, all those sorts of things. So what we really want is for careers leaders to have peace of mind that when they refer their young people to this program, they're getting the most up to date knowledge possible. There's not information on what was happening in recruitment processes last year. It's always really, really up to date. So this is our new product for next academic year, which is really exciting. And what this aims to do, it's a very similar, or we think it's going to be, it's not actually been created yet, but will be a similar format to the Apprenticeship Academy. And it is going to be a university academy. And we are designing this with students in mind that are the furthest from university. And what I mean by that is we're not necessarily creating this for, imagine a student in an independent school, have really well-connected parents who both went to university. They can ask their parents questions and, get really good answers from their personal experience. And they've got that really solid network around them who have experienced and know about HE. We are creating this for the student who actually is maybe first in family. I was first in family myself. Still, no one in my family has been to university. So my children may be the first people to go. We'll see. So first in family or care experience students, students that have arrived here from overseas. I work with a lot of asylum seekers and refugees here in London who have no idea about how higher education works in our country. So that's the type, and I don't like putting students in categories, but the type of young person that this is going to be created for. And it's going to cover everything they need to know about university. So the application process, student finance, accommodation, and all the specific support that is available. We're really fortunate that within our advisory team at the Careers People, we've got advisors who are really experienced in working with different student bodies, and we're going to bring all that knowledge together in this program so that each young person feels really heard and understood as part of this. And similarly to the Apprenticeship Academy, they will hear from a different university and a different and a different student each week. Ideally, those students will be from a background that the young people can resonate with. So ideally, a care leaver will talk, and that's the idea, is that they will all find someone on that program that they think, oh, they're a bit like me and they've done it, and I can do that too. There's only that slide because we've not made that yet. It's in creation. So we're still working on all the details, but I'm really excited. I think it will be really helpful. We also have a tutor time career program. So again, what we found in schools is that careers leads were paying usually quite a lot of money for programs of resources for careers education. And then they were giving it to the teachers. Sometimes it wasn't being delivered at all. Sometimes it was being delivered with great passion and emotion and depth from the teacher. And sometimes it was like an add-on, and teachers don't have a lot of time. Didn't have time to read the resources before, and then it wasn't delivered with the level of knowledge that we as careers leads would like. And equally, I think that sometimes there is unconscious bias from tutors. For example, with let's take a university as an example again. If that teacher's been to university, they're naturally going to be far more confident in talking about that pathway and that route. So if they're running a session on post-18 options, they might spend 15 minutes talking about university because they feel confident in doing that. Then when it gets to the other, gap years and apprenticeships and all the other great opportunities, they don't have as much knowledge to be able to deliver that in the same way. So I a few years ago now, it took me all summer. It was a huge project, but I wrote out a year 10 and a year 12 tutor program. I made all the slides for every single topic, and then I recorded every single one of those as a video. So now we have a full tutor program for year 10 and year 12. They're hosted by a careers advisor, me. And I also had guest speakers come in from employers and universities and things where the topic was relevant, and I didn't feel like I was the best person to speak on those particular topics. So what happens now is the tutors log in, they go to the Padlet, it's laid out so it's like term one, term two, term three, all the way through, and then week one, week two, week three, etc. So they just go, right, we're in term one, week three, they press play. That's it. It runs alongside a booklet. Again, students can have it digitally or they can have it printed. So we're constantly doing activities and they've got all their careers education notes in one place. This is our most expensive product, mainly because it took such a huge amount of time. And every summer I go through and I update all the videos that need updating. So things like student finance, for example, where the threshold change, that's always kept up to date. All those kinds of things. So this one is £390 per year group, and if you have both year groups, then it's 700. This shows all the topics, and when you click the read more, and I'll share these slides, of course, so that you'll be able to click that, you can obviously see these in greater depth and read through all the topics that are included. It's mapped against the CDI framework and, of course, the Gatsby benchmarks, and it can be delivered in tutor time, PHSE, you can give it to the students to do themselves, however you want to use it, completely up to you. Um, yeah, that's it. All straightforward, I think. Finally, last one. Sorry, guys, I said we were going to be 25 minutes and I'm already on 28 minutes. We have two different sets of cards. So, one of the most challenging type of meeting, in my experience as a careers advisor, is the students who genuinely just do not know. You're asking them questions and you're trying to engage with them, and I don't know, miss. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I enjoy. I don't know what my strengths are. And you feel like you're hitting a brick wall. That's where this careers card game came from. So it is a pack of 25 different questions on a card. It's really, really simple. The game can be played in a one-to-one session. They can also play it in peer groups or as a class as well. Basically, the only rule is the students can't say, I don't know. Now, if they, and you can make this more fun, with little prizes and things like that. A chocolate goes a long way. But you get a card out, and it might be something like name one skill an employer is looking for. Or if you could remove one lesson from your timetable, what would it be? They actually love that question. Describe a time you were proud of yourself. And it just really invites them to think a little bit deeper because we take that answer of I don't know off the table. You need to really, really think about this. And then they find the answers from somewhere deep within, and it just gives you a way to engage with the students that's sometimes a bit trickier to engage with. Um, and then the next one we created was a get to know careers card game. So this is to be used ideally by advisors, but can be used by other people as well at the initial contracting phase of the careers one-to-one. So for those that have no idea kind of what contracting means in a career guidance situation, basically, as I said earlier when we were talking about our guidance offer, the first thing a careers advisor has to do is to get to know the young person sat in front of them to see how they're going to work with them. And sometimes if we don't have much information from schools, that can be quite difficult, or it can be kind of quite deep. I actually had a student say to me before I had this card game, Miss, this feels like a police interrogation. And I was like, no, I do not want it to feel like that at all. So what this does is we put out a set of cards on the table, and it's things like life experiences, career experiences, etc. And the students can read through them and put the ones out that apply to them. So, for example, with the life experiences, it's got things like I speak another language, I've been in care, I have an SEN diagnosis, etc., etc. All the things that might be quite hard for them to bring up in a conversation, but actually putting a card on the table feels much easier, and you get to know that person at a lot quicker, but B, a lot more in depth than you would by having to, do a lot of Q&A with them to get there. So the different cards within the pack are listed here. So the experiences are my favourite ones, but there's also motivators for work, there's skills, so we can put them in order of kind of their top to their weaker skill, those kinds of things. There's a range of ways that advisors can use them, but it just takes the pressure away from the young person of having to talk and tell you about their whole life. But actually, a nice colourful set of cards is a nicer way to do that. So this gives an example. If you took up the newsletter, the tutor programs, and the apprenticeship academy, you're looking at £1,100 plus VAT. And this just gives you an overview as to how that might meet the different Gatsby benchmarks. With each of the products, we also have Gatsby benchmark statements. So we will give you the words for you to put on your Compass Plus report. So you don't have to go, we get a newsletter, it has opportunities, save. You can just copy and paste it. They're all available on the website. If you are part of a trust, and if there are 10 or more schools within that trust that take up the same product, you can also receive a discount. If your trust doesn't have 10 schools in, then just send me an email and we'll see what we can do. I had this the other week. A school's like, well, we want the discount, but there's only six of us. And I was like, ah, good point. So yeah, if you lead a sort of centralized careers team within the trust, please get in touch because we do offer discounts for different things for trust-wide deals and partnerships. These are some nice things that different careers leads and a student have said about our products and our services. And we now have a spreadsheet of loads of these types of quotes, which is really, really lovely. Every year we do a survey with our schools and ask them just how's it going? Is it working? And if it's not, how could it be working better? And that's where we get these nice quotes and things from schools. And here's our free things. If you've watched all of that and gone, Jess, that sounds great, but I got £0, don't worry, we got something for everyone. So we have an ebook that's available on the website. It's a few years old now, and to be honest, I'm probably going to review it over the summer and just make sure that the advice in there is still is useful and relevant. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. My feed is beautifully curated. It's full of careers professionals. All I see is things that are relevant to us and our industry, which I love. So please connect on there. I post on there kind of a couple of times a week. I also create a newsletter that goes out every Monday morning. Now, because I'm on LinkedIn a lot and I'm subscribed to sort of every newsletter from under the sun, in order for me to create the best newsletter I can for the schools, for the students to read. I also take the very best bits and put them in a newsletter for careers professionals. So instead of you having to take your time to be on LinkedIn and to be here, there, and everywhere, when if you're on a teaching timetable and you're wearing different hats, that's really difficult to do. If you just subscribe to my newsletter, I'll put all the best bits in one place and they'll just arrive in your inbox every Monday morning. So that's completely free. Please do sign up. I have now finalised and it's now gone live. We have our digital calendar for next academic year. It's basically a calendar of all of the national celebrations and events, National Careers Week, National Apprenticeship Week, etc., that are relevant to our industry, so that when you go to plan your careers programme, you can see that all in one place. And again, we don't all have to individually go and find all the dates. I just did it for you and then I just give it away every year. And last year, over 1,000 people downloaded it, which is crazy to me. Like, imagine you're in a room with 1,000 people. That's a lot of people. And then we have an online community. It's called the Careers Circle. For the past few years, it has been sponsored by UCAS, which is awesome. It's great to have their support. Um, and it's basically an online space. It has different discussion circles, so you can join different circles depending on your situation. So there's like a new to role, there's an SEM one, all different types of things. We have a file share on there where like the calendar sits and lots of other useful resources sit, including our links list for advisors, which is just a big list of all the links that are relevant to our industry that you might want to share and speak to students about. Just sort of centralizes them in one place. And my favorite thing, one, we do two events on there every single term. One is a training event with someone from outside of our community as careers professionals, and one is a community event from someone inside the community. So, for example, this term we have got Gio from a charity called We Belong, and he's doing a session on supporting undocumented young people. So, before someone becomes an asylum seeker or a refugee, they are an undocumented young person before they kind of move through the process. So, learning about how we can best support those young people. And our community event this term is a look inside Irene Smith. If you know Irene, she is in the deep south of the UK, and she is an SEN specialist careers advisor. She's also a Lego playmaker. I think I've got that term correct. Or said it correctly, sorry. And she's going to show us what she uses inside her toolkit. So that's really exciting as well. So that's the kind of events we have on there. And then my favourite thing of all, every single week we have a virtual coffee where it's on a Friday morning, it's at 9 o'clock. There's a group of about 15, 20 of us now that are there every single week, and then people come and go sort of as and when they can. And we just chat. There's no agenda. We just go, what's gone well this week? What hasn't gone well? And you just get the opportunity to speak to people who get it. Because whether you're employed by a school or you're freelance, there's no one else doing our job in the school, and therefore the teachers can sympathise, but they don't fully understand our role, and that's why it's nice to just come together each week and have a chat. Got this nice quote on here from Sharon. This is Sharon up here. That's one of a screenshot of one of our virtual coffees. Just saying some nice things, and I love that she said on here about finding her people because it just makes my heart warm. I just think that's the best feeling. That's what we want everyone to feel. Whether you find it in the career circle or somewhere else, just somewhere where you feel like you can just have a moan if you need to, celebrate your wins, all of that good stuff. So that's open to every careers professional. Please come along and just chat. Thank you so much. You can see our email address on there. So if you have any questions, want to follow up with anything at all, then please do. I could talk careers all day long, as you may be able to tell. So please do ask any questions that you have.